Okay, so there's only one difference. There's only one thing that's different between the inequalities and the equations. Well, the nice thing is here, once again, your logarithms are going to cancel. So if you just take this log of 7 and this log of 7, those are gone. And you're just going to have to solve the equation that's left over. So you have an x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 6x minus 3. So when you solve this equation, you're going to end up and have to move the subtract an x here, subtract an x here, and then we're going to add 3 and add 3. So we're going to end up with those cancel, that cancels. You get a 5 is greater than or equal to a 5x, which means 1 is greater than or equal to x. So if you flip this around, notice how your arrow is still pointing at your x. So when we flip it around, the arrow still points at your x. So this would be part of your answer. Now the only difference with the inequalities and the equations, you need to also make sure that you set each of your items that are behind your logarithm. These cannot be equal to 0. So if you just solve each of these equations, you're going to end up and have to make a number line here in a minute. So if you set x plus 2 equal to 0, then that means we get x equals negative 2. And if you set 6x minus 3 equal to 0, then you get 6x equals 3, and x equals 1/2. So we know that x can't be smaller than these values. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a number line. And since we know over here that x has to be less than or equal to 1, we can plug all these values into our number line. So negative 2, we have a 1/2, and then we have a 1. So since we know that x has to be less than or equal to 1, we know that anything that is out here that's bigger will not work. So we try a value that's between 1/2 and a 1. So let's just try something, well no, let's try a 3/4. And if 3/4 works, then you're going to end up, and this will work. So we plug in a 3/4, so you get 3/4 plus 2, well that'll be a positive value. 3/4 times 6, well that ends up being 18/4, or 9/2, which is 4.5, which is minus 3 is greater than 0. So we know that this section will work. So we know anything between 1/2 and 1 will work. So then try another number. Well, let's try 0. So we try 0, plug a 0 in here, and you're going to find out that 0 plus 2, that's positive. 6 times 0 is 0 minus 3. Not so much. So this section does not work. And then you're also going to plug in a value that is less than negative 2, so let's just plug in a negative 3. Make our life easier. So when you plug these in, negative 3 plus 2, well that automatically doesn't work. Plug in here, you're also getting another negative number, so that's not going to work there. So we find out by drawing our number line that we only have one area that works. We only have one interval. And that interval is between 1 and 1/2. So let's see. So we're going to say that our answer, we get 1/2, we have an x, we have a 1. Now we know from our original answer that x has to be less than or equal to 1. So we know that'll work. But then if we plug in 1/2, 1/2 would make this equal to 0, and we can't have equal to 0. So we know that we're going to have to end up being not equal to, and this is going to be our final solution. So there is your answer.